What is up, everybody? This is Peter Artman at Torres with the MMA Precap, where we break down fights, do predictions, and hopefully win you some money, but never guarantee. Welcome to the show. Welcome back. It's been a great 2 episodes that we have done. Last one, I was 4 out of 6. Last one before that, 6 out of 7. So not perfect, but that is where we learn, that's where we get better, and we make our bets more solid. So this is for UFC Fight Night, Brandon Moreno versus Brandon Royval 2. Yair Rodriguez, Brian Ortega is also rematch as well. So we have an epic card to break down. We're going to be breaking down the main card only. A lot of anonymity and all the fights in the prelims. But if you want to drop some of your picks in the comments for what you have there, that'd be always cool, and I'm more than happy to share those. So yeah, let's get into it today. For my guest, by the way, shout out to Rich White. Last week he won all his bets and even posted online. He did $100 parlay and got $1,500 back. So you do get some productivity by listening. So without further ado, today I have my guest. He is a fellow comic. He's a friend. He also he formerly trained MMA, or he still does, but either way, he has fought in the octagon before, so he has my respect, and you should respect his opinion as well. So without further ado, let's bring him in. Xavier Rake. What's up, G? You got your mic on? I don't hear you. Oh wait, shoot, never mind. That's me.
Yeah. What's up, big dog?
Hey, brother. My bad about that. Yeah, thanks for coming on, brother. Appreciate it.
Of course, man. Thanks for having me. I was super excited to talk about these fights and talk to a fellow fan such as yourself about it. There's always so much to dive in when fights. It's such a complicated sport. So
yeah, no, man, you know best. And just so I make that clear too. So you have fought before. Are you still fighting? You still training, or is that has work got in the way? Work-life balance got in the way?
It is a work-life balance sort of situation. And MMA requires full attention.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, especially at the level that I was getting towards. I did fight probably about 1.5 years or 2 years ago, and that was actually after a 5-year layoff of competing. I'm definitely not done with combat sports. I did fight in Vegas, a lot of bigger promotions like Tough, and a few other ones. Used to train with a lot of different UFC fighters, some that are still in the UFC right now, all out of Las Vegas, Nevada. I used to train at Drysdale MMA.
Okay.
Well, not Drysdale MMA. He was Drysdale BJJ. It's actually
tomato, man. Robert Drysdale on the name is solid for me.
Yeah.
No, that's what's up, man. Well, cool. Awesome, dude. I just wanted to make sure I got that background, got it right there. And, if you're training for a fight, want to make sure we get you the promotion you deserve. But cool, man. So let's get into it, bro. Let's see. Just got to share screen here.
Yeah, man, because card, I know it's super easy to get lost in like UFC 298 and 300 around the corner. But this card, I am really excited about. It's one of the best fight night cards I've seen in a while. And 4 very popular fighters at the top. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I guarantee that there's some stars in here in the future for sure on this card.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And by the way, this is taking place in Mexico City, Mexico. So, as you see with a lot of the green, white, and red flags, we do have a lot of the Pride of Mexico fighting on this fight card. Super interesting. Like you were saying, man, there's a lot of these fights that will give good trajectory if the right person gets the W in that way. And as you can see, Raul Rosas, I think is that one for Ricky Turcios. Yasmin, Jorge, Yeah, Jorge. That one is going to be, big for her. And I mean, all the above. So, without further ado, man, let's get into it, bro. So, the first fight we got to break down is Manuel Torres versus Chris Duncan. I'll start this one off. It is at the 155 weight class. I believe Manuel Torres has a slight reach advantage on Chris Duncan. Looking at both fighters, not as known. I believe they both have fought on the Contender Series, and for me, I mean, just straight out, I'm gonna go Manuel Torres. I really like his kickboxing. He has super fast hands. He is just, he's just kind of traditional Mexico boxing. I love how he fights. Me looking at Chris Duncan, he is good. He's very durable, but in my opinion, he just kind of slow, and it seems kind of like the right match for Manuel Torres to capitalize on, just for how he fights. And I just, looking at his fight play, him versus Chris Duncan, I really liked how Manuel Torres, how he fights, and not sure if I would go. I maybe lean on decision just because of how durable Chris Duncan is, but I feel in Chris Duncan's case, he's going to need to finish. But if it goes in later rounds, he might possibly gas out. So, what's your take on that, man?
So for Miguel Torres versus Chris Duncan,
Manuel Torres.
Manuel Torres, yeah, sorry, Manuel
Yeah,
Torres.
Miguel Torres. That's a throwback though. That's why I made that same mistake, man. Shout out to him, man. Back in the WEC.
Yeah,
God, that guy was crazy. I remember he came into the fight game and he was like, he came into that organization. He was like 43-1. It was like, how the hell is it? Yeah, with the mullet. Oh, dude,
yeah.
it's the Mexican mullet is. We
Yeah.
can go on forever about that, but yeah. What's your thoughts on?
So yeah, excuse me. The Manuel Torres versus Chris Duncan. I think you're 100%. I really agree with you, and he's
Good.
got happy kickboxing. Manuel. He's also coming off of two. He's got 13 first round finishes in 14 wins. He's coming off of two first round knockouts. He's definitely to look at. And Chris Duncan, he is a very durable person. And when he seems to have won mostly decisions, he himself is on a four fight win streak.
Mm-hmm.
Both have really good records, and you'll find that throughout this whole card this whole card that most of them are 12-1 or 11-1. Chris Duncan's 11-1, and I think this is a really good matchup for Torres and his style.
Mm-hmm.
I think that if it goes to decision, then Chris Duncan may have the advantage. And I think that just given the style that Torres has, he's going to be wanting and looking to finish quickly. And it seems like he does most times. I mean, out of 14 wins, 13 of them are first round finishes, and two of them in the UFC very recently. So for this, I would say my bet would also be on Manuel Torres, and my bet would be that he probably finishes it within the first or second round. I think if it does go to decision, it may lean into Chris's favor, maybe winning a decision. He has more wins by decision, and he may have to employ a style that grinds out Manuel Torres, so he's not as deadly with hands and those feet and those strikes. So
Yeah, that's a good thing to point out too, is that when we are staring at his record right now, if you're listening to this just by audio, I mean, he has so many first round finishes that sometimes when those people get into the deeper waters of the second and third round, they kind of they're like, hey, I'm a first round guy. I've been so good now that, it's a little unfamiliar with them in the moment when they get into that second, third round. And they're like, I was kind of hoping for the repeat, So, as I said, that, despite me saying that it could be a thing of, Chris Duncan gassing out, there is also, like you're saying, an opportunity where as it goes on, in the unfamiliar territory, that Chris Duncan does capitalize on that and just keep pounding away, or at least standing the shots and start to play his game a little more. And so that is something that you think of too. Yeah, actually now that you're saying that, might be, that could be a good hedge to go, hey, whatever happens, decision. If Manuel Torres is able to play his game but not able to finish, he might just pull off the decision. Or if Chris Duncan is able to just, kind of weather the storm, get some takedowns, do his thing, he might just edge out a decision. So that could be a good hedge on. That's something to consider there. But no, it's cool. We're both in agreement there. Let me get. I have a little chart thing I'm doing where I'm gonna compare both of our fight stats together and see where we conflict. But it seems like we'll probably be on the same page there. Cool. Okay. So, I mean, yeah, seems like that was pretty easy to break down there. Yeah, God, yeah. I missed that too. I totally missed all the first round finishes. Look at this, man. 9 seconds. Never out of the first round. So that is a huge factor that I kind of somehow missed. So that's why it's important to have a little co-host here to be like, hey, here's another factor you didn't know. So,
well, I mean, and you're right. I mean, with those kind of first round finishes, we don't know how he's gonna react in deep waters. It's really easy to be. It's not really easy, but it's easier to be snappy and quick with your strikes. But after a round or two of grappling, you might not be as sharp. So,
totally.
Yeah.
Totally. As the fight goes on, it's like, I mean, and what we're saying is, he has great kickboxing, great speed, but that's in the first round, so that's where, what does a second round, what's a third round Manuel Torres look like? Yeah. So that's a good thing to factor in, folks. All right. Yeah, let's move on to the next fight. Got Yasmin Jauregei versus Sam Hughes, Sam Page. And this is at the straw weight 115 weight class. So I have actually had the privilege of seeing Sam Hughes come up. She was a local fighter here in Washington. She's much of a grinder. She's definitely much of a grinder. Usually been kind of capitalizing on the decision end of things, and had some good back and forth. She's had a kind of a losing skid. She is in another training camp and has, since this skid of losses, has kind of made a better name for herself. But when we come into the case of this upcoming fight, this Yasmin girl is a scary individual. Scary individual. Fighting out of Mexico too. Getting that Mexican crowd on her side. I don't see this going in Sam Hughes' favor. I think Yasmin is going to use her aggression. She is so good on the stand-up. She is coming off of a 20-second loss to Denise Gomez. And, I think, when it's a 20-second loss, it sucks. There's nothing you can say. What do I need to do better? Well, put your hands up. But, in this case, I think it's just going to be fuel to the fire. She got her first loss. She experienced what the losing feeling feels like, and I think she's bringing that into the Sam Hughes fight. What's your take?
So I was unfamiliar with Sam Hughes actually before hard, but I can see that she has, like you were saying, she has been in the UFC for quite a bit. She's got quite an experience advantage in terms of just UFC fights in general. And basically just off of what you're saying about her being a grinder, I see a lot of decisions. I see a couple a KO, and it says she's got 3 wins by submission, 2 wins by knockout. I do feel that maybe this, if she does win or can win, would have to be a resurgence, and then it definitely looks like Yasmin is an up and coming prospect.
Yes.
7 wins by KO. She's 10-1, like you said. She lost in 20 seconds in the first fight, which can be attributed to MMA. Anything happening. And
Yes.
it doesn't necessarily mean she was outclassed or she was. And also Gomez is a heavy hitter herself, Denise Gomez. So I mean the
Hmm.
power Denise Gomez has. So you can't fault her for that. She's an amazing striker, Yasmin, it looks like. Um, and she also herself has 5 first-round finishes. So I do think that this is another. When I was talking about this card, this is an up and comer fighting, a more experienced person who is almost in a way sort of a gatekeeper, I think. And we'll see. We'll see if Yasmin can come back and be, from that loss, and then, we'll see where Sam's, where her mind is at, and, if she's gonna start trying to, get into the upper echelon and try to break into the top 10 or the top 15. That's where she'd be trying to head after being in UFC for a number of fights. Um, but I'm also in agreement with you. I think that Yasmin is going to be the fresher, younger fighter with the Mexican crowd behind her.
Hmm.
Um, I think that it's going to be very tough for Hughes to deal with that, and I'm thinking this one's going to probably be a unanimous decision for Yasmin. That's what I'm thinking.
Okay. Going decision, Yasmin. Um, yeah. As far as method, yeah, I'm not sure, but yeah, I definitely go Yasmin Horgy, but yeah, how it happens, who knows? Honestly, for me, I wouldn't. I'm not even sure if I'd touch that. I'd just go outright, be safe. I think I think the odds for this one is huge too. I think she's like a minus 500.
It's
It's like, yeah. What's
oh
up?
yeah, I could see that for sure.
Yeah, minus 500 plus 480. So the odds makers don't see it happening for Sam Hughes either. Again, nothing against her, but obviously it's just how the fight world works. Cool person to talk to. So that's the thing that I thought about like doing this too, where I'm like, God, in the end, someone's got to lose, and you got to say that someone's got to lose. But shout out to her. She's had a great career in the UFC. She'll, I'm sure, continue to have one. But in this case, this one stylistically is more favored to Yasmin. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
I definitely agree, and yeah, 100%. Absolutely no disrespect to Sam Hughes,
Hmm.
anybody who fights, like saying before, has my utmost respect. It's and to reach that kind of level, um,
Hmm.
takes a certain. I mean, climbing that mountain, is one of the hardest mountains in sports. Uh, I think being
Exactly.
know. So she's obviously a very hardworking and skilled individual, and who knows, that's why we're.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, man. That's why I'm doing my videos too, where I go like, each, every day or the day after, I go, hey guys, here's where I won, here's where I lost. And if I lose, I'll be like, hey, Sam, I'm not betting against you again. My bad. I got no problem doing that. That's how we learn, man. This is not an easy sport to bet on. And like you're saying, man, it's MMA, dude. It's just, things happen. All right. So, God, let's get on to some of these sexy, dude. I cannot believe, like you're saying, man. I mean, basically those trajectory fights start like right at Yasmin is like now it just gets even crazier. So we
Yeah,
got Raul Rosas Jr. versus Ricky Torcios. This is in the bantamweight division, 135. Start us off with it, man. How about let me know what your take is, and
okay.
I'll bounce off yours.
Yeah, most definitely. So Roses, Raul, right? Raul Roses,
Rosas.
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 Is he still the youngest UFC fighter? I think he is, right?
19. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. My new prospects coming every day, but I'm pretty sure at the moment he is.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure because, yeah, there's no way they've had a 19-year-old. You know, he was one of those guys that he got a lot of attention from the Contender Series. And then as soon as he lost, he dropped that unanimous decision to Rodriguez. A lot of people were giving him crap. Kid is 19 years old. This kid has been training. You know, this is his life. You know, and from such a young age, he's has such a great potential. He's I think for a bantamweight, very physically imposing. I think in a way.
Mm-hmm.
I think, you know, his physicality. I think that he's a tough, you know, old school sort of fighter. He reminds me of, and I mean, he's in there to fight, and he's in there to finish. And both of these people, like you're saying, the trajectory, because Ricky, I believe he is also from the Ultimate Fighter. If I'm correct me if I'm wrong, and I think he actually lost in the house and then got an opportunity to fight because someone dropped out in the finals, and then actually ended up winning the whole thing. And so that kind of perseverance to drop a fight, you know, during the actual tournament, and then to, you know, answer the call, and then, you know, short notice, get back in there and fight in the finals and come out with a victory, is very promising too. Very interesting. He's the type of guy who gets on the mic and try, you know, kind of takes it away, and he is sporting a 13-3 record, while Rosas Jr. is 8-1. You know, Rosas Jr. is coming off of a victory. I think it was a KO.
Let's look.
Yep.
So yeah, under a minute, 54-second punches from Mount.
Yeah,
looks like he got it in early.
And then, so this is a big step up of competition for him, for being a young gunner. But I think this is a perfect matchup for him. This is tough, man. This is tough because
it is.
Yeah, this one's a tough one because he's a lengthy dude. He's got a weird, you know, he's got that long body type. He's kind of like a funky sort of, you know, fighter who, you know, kind of, you know, unpredictable things can definitely happen. He's also coming off of a win, so they're both lost, then won, and then and now are fighting each other. He does have a lot more octagon time, and he normally goes to decision. But I like Junior in this fight. I think his power. I think his athleticism. I think that he's gonna be a little more technical, and for sure, Ricky might have his moments, and especially if they have any scrambles. But I think that Junior is probably going to take this and probably get the finish. I think probably ground and pound, or something along. I think there's going to be a stoppage probably.
Yeah. So comparing the two, so I have I'm leaning more towards Ricky Turcios at this time, and I mean it's kind of hard-ish to deny Raul Rosas, because obviously, you know, he has his loss. He has kind of owned his wins. He talks a little too much. He asked for like some title shot BS kind of early in his career, so that's something I'm kind of like, all right, dude, shut up, you know, when he's on the mic or whatever. But man, Ricky Turcios, something that is, I feel like, is a style clash is when Ricky Turcios is always moving. He's always moving. He has great cardio. And when he gets down, when someone takes him down, he is always moving. He's always moving, looking to get back up. His resume looks kind of boring as far as, you know, decisions, but he has really great takedown defense. And when he gets down, he usually gets back up. And so I feel like, you know, if you were just doing live betting, if this goes out of the first round, I would start trying to put money on Ricky Turcios, because that's Raul's game is, submissions, takedowns, being on top. And when, if he gets back up for the third time, it's really going to fluster Raul. And I think that he's good. He's a bright star. But at the moment, I think he kind of talks too much. And I don't think he's faced real adversity yet. He lost his decision, that decision fight to Rodriguez. But I think this is a real test for him. This is something that, if he wins this one, I will have full confidence in him. But for now, I think Ricky Torcios, man, he's just such a gamer. He is, I see the fight where Raul takes him down, thinks he's got him, gets back up, happens 2 more times, and then he starts to question himself. And I think you might know this too, and I only know because I've trained, I've sparred, so I don't have true octagon experience. But when you talk a lot, and then you realize that the talk that you promised isn't being made, that probably adds pressure to you, right? Like we're like, I'm going to take him down, I'm going to submit him, it's going to be easy, and then you're like, it's not easy. Damn,
Yeah.
that talk gets in your head.
It does. It gets in your head, and when you're in a fight, you have to have as little doubt as possible in your mind, and those little seeds of doubt, they can grow if you correct them, and if you don't approach, with the right response after a loss, and growing from it. And I agree, he was definitely very cocky and in the beginning, and he probably still is. But
Yeah.
He is very largely untested. This is going to be the biggest test and the biggest challenge that he's ever had, and we'll see how he can handle it, and if he can keep himself together, and continue his that trajectory that everyone else has him put on. Hopefully he can get that done, and if not, Ricky's not a terrible, like you said, he's a gamer, and and he's definitely a very tough test for a young fighter like him.
Yeah, 100%. And that'll be one that I'm not saying is a lock. This one I'm some of these others easier to decide, but this one is definitely a toss up, and it takes a lot of check marks, a lot of crosses, a lot of things to focus on for this one, where it just seems like Raul really hasn't been in deep waters, and he hasn't had that sort of doubt on him yet. It's gonna be interesting. But yeah, I think this will be an interesting fight for sure. And I think Ricky definitely has the ability to pull off the upset. And I'm gonna lean on him just because of what I've been talking about before. So that's cool. It's always gonna divide somewhere. So that's good. Okay, so next fight, main card again, baby, third fight for the co-main. We have Daniel Zellhuber versus Francisco Prado. This one, again, we got great records. Crazy style up. This one is where, to me, is kind of a coin flip, but also there are opportunities to break this down. Daniel Zellhuber versus Francisco Prado. What do you got on this?
So yeah, man, this is another barn burner. They got of course, all these Mexican natives fighting in Mexico. That's a tough challenge to get. To Daniel Zellhuber, again, like you said, great record, 14-1. Let's see. He's got 3 fights in the UFC, it looks like, at the moment, and
I guess 4 with the Contender Series.
And he's from the Contender Series. Gotcha. I just got Francisco. I have seen fight before. And let's see.
guy's got a great record. I mean, he's all his wins are by finish, 6-6 submissions to knockouts. You know, he's a real gamer. I mean, he knows how to finish. He's really good. You know, and it's hard to kind of go against him, but I don't know, man. This Daniel Zellhuber guy, his kickboxing is astounding, and it's kind of hard to go against him here because he kind of has the same game as far as all around solidified game.
Yeah, he's
It's
got 7 knockouts himself,
mm-hmm.
3 wins by submission. This is This is going to be a real crazy fight.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's look at some of their stats in terms of reach. So yeah, he has he's got a reach advantage.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like a little bit of a height advantage as well. He trains out of Extreme Couture in Las Vegas. I've been there quite a few times actually.
There you go. There you go.
Fought a couple people from that gym actually.
Mm-hmm.
And then Francisco Prado, like you said, he is a freaking gamer, man, and he's got a couple more wins by submission. Then he might be a little bit more well-rounded. 9 first-round finishes himself. All his wins are finishes. Is that correct? Yeah,
all by finish.
All by finish. You know, when it comes down to that sort of consistency, especially in a sport like MMA, it's hard to bet against that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and out of all the fighters, you know, fighting in Mexico City in home country, I think that one person that may actually have an advantage in the fight, despite that home field advantage, it might be Francisco Prada. I mean, it's really hard to bet against that kind of consistency in such a crazy sport.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but again, you know, this is not a light task. I think I would have to lean towards Francisco in this fight. I think that it's a huge toss up. I definitely wouldn't consider it a lock. I think that the toughness is there for both of them. I think maybe he could get on the side and he can a little bit of he can nullify that reach advantage. He may have a little bit of a sharper grappling game if he has a few extra wins with missions. And just looking at Daniel, you can see that he's got a snappier style, and which is going to be tough to deal with. Again, those long, you know, when they got them long arms, man, you have to, you know, sit in the pocket and then try to, you know, get on the inside and close the distance. It can be very dangerous. But yeah, I mean, 6 wins by submission, 6 wins by knockout, 12 wins, 12-1. You know, looking to start getting some finishes in the UFC because it looks like a few of his fights have been going to decision. So I'm sure he's going to make a statement here against another rising prospect. So I think I'm gonna have to go with Francisco on this one. And
Yeah.
if it doesn't, if one of them doesn't finish the other one, then yeah, I think it may even go to a decision for in his favor. I think Francisco Prada.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, looking at Daniel Zellhuber's kickboxing, I think he has the better stand-up game. When so I'd say like how I bet Ian Gary versus Jeff Neal at Ian Gary, he had a great reach advantage and he's much more lanky. I think if it stands on the feet, he has Daniel Zellhuber has a more finishable style. If it's a stand up match, I feel like he's gonna basically kind of choose his range and control the fight there. As far as grappling goes, I think Francisco Prado kind of has that advantage. The advantage of just being, he is a really, tight guard. He's really good on the ground, as we see. A little more advantage there. But yeah, I'm kind of going Daniel Zellhuber on this. I feel like it's going to be that sort of fight where Jeff Neal versus Jeff Neal, Neil Magny, Jeff Neal versus
I get
Ian Gary, where it's
bro.
a stand-up fight and he uses long range. Francisco Prado is really good on the feet and he is a gamer, but I feel like it's kind of the same fight where he's going to be looking to box. Daniel Zellhuber is going to use his kickboxing, stay out of range, but still strike with him. If it goes to the ground, again, it's not a lock. I agree with what you said there. Yeah, I kind of feel him. I agree with the decision part. I agree with the decision because this is such a tough fight. This is again one of those gatekeeping fights that this next one will give you a real name. So I'm not sure if I even see a finish. I feel like they're both so good. They're both so game. But I mean, if I think Francisco Prado, I'll go by submission. I think Daniel Zellhuber, it's going to be decision or a finish. But I think he's a little bit of the smarter fighter. He obviously, I mean, you can't look away from the submission game or the finishing game that Francisco Prado has. But yeah, just in my mind, I got Daniel Zellhuber. I think I mean such an impressive record. So I have no problem eating my words if this one goes Francisco's way. But just from what I've seen, it seems like he kind of has a bit of a smarter style, and if he does kind of what I'm saying, like I'm a coach, but if he really uses that properly, I think he can get the W a lot easier than Francisco Prado can.
Gotcha. More ways to win. And yeah, I totally agree, man. It's going to be a barn burner when you have these kind of people. Sometimes it turns decision. I think that possibly could be it, and that may tip the fight in the on the side for Daniel. I was mistaken. So Francisco did the unanimous decision I was talking about on him was his loss. So he did lose a unanimous decision. So which is that's what I was talking about before. I misread that actually.
Oh yeah, no, you're good. We'll forgive you. But yeah, looks like let's see, going to them. Looks like they both have a. Okay, I thought they both had a loss, but yeah, I'd say for Francisco Prado. I remember his Jamie Malarkey fight. He didn't really have great wrestling against Jamie Malarkey, and that's kind of what made him lose the decision. So he does have good submissions, but it's kind of when it goes his way. I think that was another thing that swayed me more towards Daniel Zellhuber. So he does have the ability to finish, obviously, but that was an interesting factor in that one that led me to it. So I mean, yeah. So that one's again, I mean, I think we're both like, I got this kind of, we're sitting on that end.
Oh, yeah. And that's such a good point that about the takedown defense that may, play such a huge factor. Whose defensive wrestling is better than, his aggressive, his offensive wrestling, so that's something I didn't think about.
Yeah. No, man, that's I mean, the game of MMA is such a God, I mean, it's like the math adds up, but then it doesn't, and it's just that's what makes this game so interesting, man. And I swear, like, part of the show I want to even kind of highlight just how crazy this game is, man. How crazy, it is. It is four-dimensional. It is four-dimensional where it's 3D on paper, and then when the night of the fight comes, it is the emotions of each person being perfect, saying exactly what we are saying, how their resume works on paper, and then at fight night, do they live up to each of their factors that they have had in their previous fight? You just never know, man. It
Yeah.
is. I mean, bet safely, folks. Bet safely.
And sometimes,
Don't.
you
Yeah.
know, the their records and it doesn't tell the story of the fight accurately sometimes. So you can
Dude, if I
number.
could, yeah, if I could go back in time, I would go back. Well, okay, two times I want to go back. One is when Bitcoin was $1, and two would be back when you could actually just look at records and bet. Because like it's like back in the Chuck Liddell days, like you could really look at someone's record and determine it. Chuck Liddell, 21-3. That's so sexy. And then you'd have somebody who was like 11-5. You didn't have to know shit. You would just be like, yeah, it's gonna be Chuck Liddell or anybody. You could look at their record and just do that. But now, we got a deep dive, man. The game has gotten so just, it's like
Evolved.
fractions.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so it's great.
It is insane, man. It is insane. Well, okay, I'm stalling because I am so stoked for these next two fights. These are insane. Can make any one of these a main event. You could switch these around and they'd both be just sexy stacked cards, man. Okay, well let's get right to it, man. So 5-round co-main event at 145 featherweight division. Yair Rodriguez versus Brian Ortega. Good God. It is such a great fight, such a great matchup. But I'll do the first pick on this one. Um, I feel like I gotta go Yair Rodriguez, just for the fact of the inactivity of Brian Ortega. Brian Ortega is one of my favorite fighters. I loved when at this time, like when what we're looking at right here, when he was T City, the scariest guy to be on the ground with. He's so versatile, and he's a submission guy who is scary everywhere. Almost beat Alexander Volkanovski in his prime when he was, just the almighty. I mean, it's Alexander Volkanovski, man. I'm so disappointing, man. I lost that bet. I was really going for him. I didn't think it was his time, but again, the math sometimes doesn't math. But what we look at here is we see Brian Ortega's coming off of an injury. He hasn't fought since 2020, since the COVID days, and I think that's gonna play a factor. It's gonna take a real Dominic Cruz miracle to happen, in my opinion. It would be great if he just came in crisp and fresh, but like we're saying, the 4-dimensional aspects of MMA is coming in ready. Not having ring rust. It's hard. It's hard to say, man. It's tough to say for me, but I believe Yair Rodriguez is so good standing. He's really improved his ground game, his takedown defense. He is God. I mean, he's just so good on the ground. Submitting Josh Emmett recently. The fight with Brian Ortega, the first fight, was definitely disappointing to have that shoulder injury. It was looking like a good back and forth. Yeah, but I think in those factors alone, I gotta go Yair Rodriguez. What is your take, good sir?
Man, back on T City, man. T City. It's so hard. I'm a huge Yair Rodriguez fan as well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but T City, man, there's something about him that's just very likable.
Totally.
He just seems like, the dude you would meet, at the gym, just there all the time, always at gi class, always, you know what I mean? Just,
Mm-hmm.
grinding like no one else, and, taking his time showing new techniques to, new students, and, guiding people. He seems like that kind of person. It's very hard to bet against him or want to bet against him. But
Right.
against Rodriguez, I think I have to maybe lean Yair as well. He's very unpredictable, one of the most dangerous strikers in all of the UFC. You know, he seems hungrier. He came off of a loss from Volkanovski, you know, which was very one-sided. But that, like you said, that's Big Daddy Volk right there. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like that was, you know what I mean? He was seemingly invincible until you know, Islam and now Ilya, you know, have, you know, proven you know, otherwise. And that may be attributed to, you know, a few of, you know, losing and a few knockout, you know, things change when you get knocked out. You know what I mean? Like they can change on a dime. You don't know, you know, how your chin reacts to it after that situation. So, but yeah, that's me also losing that Volkanovski bet. That's why I'm talking about that, because
Yeah.
that,
Yeah. Yeah.
that one, although I could have, I saw that it was possible. It was just so crazy how the power of Topuria. But anyways, forget it. Let's get
Yeah.
back to
Yeah. We're both crying. We're like, moving on.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. It's
back to
heartbreaking.
and Ortega. Uh, Yair is dangerous from bell to bell when he knocked out Korean Zombie. You know, and Korean Zombie, a lot of people thought was winning that fight, and then that
Mhm.
winning back. And then I think this one goes down to, we know Rodriguez is very consistent, very dangerous, very wild. And
Mhm.
the one thing that I'll say about Ortega is, you know, sometimes we get an Ortega that is, you know, championship caliber, like when he fought Korean Zombie. When he fought Korean Zombie, he, you know, and that was also a stylistic matchup that worked well for him. Korean Zombie, you know,
Mhm.
nickname, he marches forward, and you know, and but if we get a performance out of Ortega like that, then he very well can take this win, and probably in fantastic fashion, probably in impressive fashion. But with his long layoff, it is really hard to bet. You know, can we bet on him performing like that? Can we get back to, you know, him back on track, you know, improving and beating high caliber fighters such as Rodriguez? Um, it's really tough because, you know, without Volkanovski, without um, you know, Holloway, it's crazy how deep this division is. You know what I mean? It's crazy. The losses that these guys have are against the elite of the elite. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
everyone sort of just fell to the wayside, and can't even aren't even in the same almost bracket, I think, sometimes. You know what I mean? uh
Mhm.
I That's how deep I think the top five in this division is the other half of the of that those rankings. I don't think even come close to some of the skill level that they have here, and how complete they are. I think, as much as I want to see T City come back after two losses, and how much I believe in him, I do think that Yair might just be too dangerous for all 5 rounds, especially it being a 5 round fight.
Yes.
Um,
Right. The
you know,
5 round factor, man, I think is a heavy one. Coming 4 years off 5 round fight, you know, it's safe to say he needs a first or second round finish, you
yeah,
know, for someone with ring rust of 4 years. Um, and you know, that's something too, is, you know, when you look at the Yair Rodriguez Max Holloway fight, you know, grappling was the Achilles heel for Yair, and that was something that, you know, Max Holloway was able to take advantage of, and smart thing to do, you
yeah,
know. So we could see that happen right away, and then both of us go, well, damn, he didn't have ring rust. You know, that is possible.
yeah,
But yeah, yeah, no. So I'm with you there, man. All those factors,
yeah,
it hurts to say, but I'll tell you right now, though, man, I want Brian Ortega to win. I want him to win because I think the sexiest matchup is Brian Ortega, Ilia Topuria. I think that is such a good. If like, that's the matchup I want. I
yeah.
want that. I would, if he beats him, I want that sort of stepping ladder to happen next.
Yeah. And the thing to, like you're saying, the 5 round factor, Yair has been in a few more wars, I think, than Ortega. I believe Ortega has only gone 5 rounds, or only been in a couple 5 round fights. So I do think that, like you said, plays a huge factor in it. And then the grappling, yeah, I mean, the grappling of Ortega is something to be feared by everyone in the division. And
Always.
and that's a great matchup with Ilya as well. That would be a great, just stylistically, just to see. You may have you may have convinced me a little bit. Maybe he pulls off a submission. Maybe he pulls off a triangle, the T City triangle.
Oh my god.
You know,
Oh my god. I'd be so happy.
some
I'd
fly.
be so happy to come on here and say, guys, he did it. I was wrong. That would be, oh, dude. Like I don't think I'd tear up, but I would get a little bit of the fucking feels. That's for sure, dude. T City come back 4 years. I'd be like, he's the real deal. I'm already placing my bet for Ilya versus him. I'd already be doing it. I'm like, that's it. That's all I need. That is all I need. If he, oh, but that's kind of a long shot. It is a long shot. Sexy, but God, that would, oh my God, if he did that, I'd be,
Yeah, I
I'd
would
be
have
so happy.
our bet is probably Yair Rodriguez,
Mm-hmm.
just because of his style and just because how dangerous he is from bell to bell, and just that big question mark. If he was a little more active, I would be going Ortega all day long. But let's see where his head's at and see how he performs, in this co-main event.
Yeah, yeah, man. That I'm even more excited now. Just even thinking about that of like, I mean, if this is one of the most just chop and block type of fights, man. I mean, I'm pretty sure whoever wins this is going to have a title fight.
I'm pretty
Right?
sure.
Yeah, it's 5 rounds, so I think it's pretty much solidified, which would be, I mean, just such a comeback story for Brian Ortega. But again, I think it's kind of a Disney Cinderella story in this case with the 4-year layoff. It's it's just not a smart bet, in my opinion, to go with Brian Ortega in this case. It's too many factors weigh against that, but who knows, man? Right training camp, right mindset. It's a 4D fight, man. If he comes with all 4 dimensions, he's ready. He's no sign of ring rust, but it's asking for a lot. So, yep. So, God, that one is. God, I'm even more stoked. The more we talk about this, the more stoked I am for that fight alone. All right, man. Are you ready for talk about the main fight?
Yep. Brandon
Moreno versus Brandon Royval. You have the floor, sir. What do you think?
So this is such an interesting fight. Of course, Brandon Moreno is he's him with Figueredo. They're the two titans of the flyweight division.
Yeah.
They fought 4 times, and that really, really, those wars and those fights that he had with Figueredo, they really, I think, served him well, and they upped his game quite a bit. A lot of times, something that I don't think gets talked about is everyone does talk about training. Of course, training is one of the most important things that you have to do. You know what I mean? Properly train, have a proper camp. But a lot of people don't talk about how much some of these fighters grow and learn just in the fights themselves, and a huge improvement and confidence from Brandon after those fights with Figueredo. I mean, there isn't a more dangerous opponent in the flyweight division. The guy can barely make flyweight. He's a Brazilian world, he's a black belt in Brazilian jiu-jitsu, Figueredo, with crazy knockout power. So I mean, it's hard for me to think of another fighter outside of some of the people who are in bantamweight and coming down from bantamweight and maybe even uh Mighty Mouse himself that are going to impose or intimidate Moreno.
Mm-hmm.
So this is really tough. Brandon Royval himself just got out of a fight with Pantoja, a crazy fight, by the way. which was insane. The grappling was back and forth. I was, I mean, he kept up with Pantoja for the majority of the fight. And he is someone that I will say, historically in MMA and me watching, I have sort of overlooked. He's someone in the flyweight division that I've always seen and I've always really loved, and I've always thought was a great fighter. But I never really considered him, making his way up to the titles and fighting for titles, which he has proven. He's proven. He fought Pantoja, which is a very tough fight. Pantoja has a very unique style. And he's got wins over, Kaya France, who, was a surging contender.
Mm-hmm.
Still, has time to be in the future. You know what I mean? He's working his way up. He's got, actually, he's got a submission win over Tim Elliott, who is someone that I've actually trained with as well, out Drysdale. One of the crazy, also a black belt, also an insane individual in terms of grappling skills.
No, 100%, man. No, he's overlooked too. He's just one of the dudes. He's top 10, always floating around. He's an absolute killer, man. Yeah, for sure. So, so who do you got for it?
I think, given that Moreno does have a KO victory over him, I just don't see. I don't see Brandon Royval being able to bring to the table anything that Brandon Moreno hasn't seen before, hasn't dealt with before, and hasn't, been successful against. I don't see very. I mean, he's very scrappy. He's very tough. He's gonna probably take the fight all the way to, a unanimous decision. I think. I mean, I think he's gonna take, Brandon Moreno for, 5 rounds. If he doesn't get, knocked out again or hit with a, powerful shot, I think that Brandon Moreno is probably going to win this fight. Again, it's just his game got elevated with those 4 fights that he had with Figueiredo. There's too much of a margin in levels here, I think. And I could, again, 100% could be wrong. Brandon Royval can come out, like a, you know what I mean, and completely have a totally different game and can be, more dangerous on the feet and have a little more power. Those are some of the ways I think he should try to win or could win. But I just don't see it, man. I don't see anyone being more dangerous than anybody Brandon's fought before. And I don't see Brandon getting finished in any way. I don't see Moreno getting submitted or knocked out. And if it's going to a decision, I'm going to have to lean Moreno for sure. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
No, that is mine as well. I got Brandon Moreno. I think honestly, this one's kind of a lock. And just kind of going off of what you're saying, Brandon Moreno fought him in 2020, and what we've seen since then is a new and improved Brandon Moreno. Anybody can say that, because like you're saying, man, these 4 fights with Figueiredo is just an insane. Just every time was just improving, and it was probably one of the best. I mean, I don't know what you say after trilogy, but 4 fights, that he had with him was just an insane testament to just building and building and building, and yeah, man, I just, you can't go against him, because he already did so good against him versus in 2020. And now what we're seeing, I mean, coming off a split decision loss to Pantoja, another great fight, he has all the tools. He is probably the most well-rounded person in the UFC, just as far as having everything you need to be a fighter. That is who you should look up to in fighting. Just having just everything, and Brandon Royval, he has a puncher's chance. I think that's kind of all he has. He just has a puncher's chance. He's game. He's obviously, he has his skills as well. But But, even looking at the Pantoja fight, he was kind of just treading water. He was taking shots, but he's really exciting. He's really fun to watch because he takes the shots, but he does not cower. And that is one of his best skills, is he doesn't cower. It just seems like nothing really gets in his head. And I love that about him. I'll always watch a Brandon Royval fight rooting for him. But in this case, you are facing an untamed beast. You cannot tame this guy. Brandon Moreno is one of the best and yet to come. And let's see, he's only 30 years old, looking sharp, looking great, fighting out of Tijuana, Mexico. Oh, I can't wait for that. The crowd's going to go crazy for that. For me, in my opinion, this one is pretty much a lock. I think Brandon Moreno only has a striker's chance of winning, or Brandon Royval, has a striker's chance of winning. And I lost you, you son of a bitch. Well, that's who I got. I don't know if he if he backed out, but no. So I think that's it, man. We got the craziest fight card with some people. A lot of people don't really know. A lot of people don't really know, who some of these people are. But it's. I don't know if Russia's on the map right now for the popular fighters that are coming into the game. Where the hell you go?
Oh, dude, I lost. I dropped but we're back.
There we go. I was like, shoot, but it's all good. We pretty much broke it down anyways. But no, glad you're back. But yeah, no, did you hear what I was saying, or did you not hear my Moreno?
Yeah,
Moreno speech.
Cut out. It just something about Russia, and then that was all
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh shit. Okay, then you heard most of it. Yeah, because I was pretty much done with that. Where I was just saying, I was just looking at the card, breaking it down, be like, man, all these prospects coming in. It's like, yeah, no. I was like, if Russia's taking over the fight game, who knows? Who knows, man? Mexico could be the next step. Probably not. I think with the wrestling and everything, I think these damn Dagestanis are fucking just taking over. It's hard to say, but no, man, this is such a stacked card, man. Such a stacked card. Okay, well, let's look at our bets here. Let's see. I guess I gotta stop, share window. How do I get that on there? There we go. Boom. So here's our fight picks. You're in red, I'm in blue. So it looks like we only have 2 fights that are undecided, or we have a little conflict on, but that's what makes it spicy. This makes it interesting, man. So let's look at the odds on this sexiness.
Yeah, that was. I just wanted to add. I really Brandon Moreno fought Figueredo. I overlooked him then, and I told myself I never would do that again.
Yeah,
because those fights were crazy, and those was one of the, and he really rose to the occasion, and just like you were saying, he's a very he's the type of fighter you would want to look up to. You know what I mean? In terms of how he carries himself, how he trains. Seems like a very genuine and nice individual. Not that Brandon Royal doesn't seem that way either, but it's just something a characteristic about Brandon that.
Yeah, dude. The guy. Let's face it. Brandon Moreno. By person, you're a dork. He's Lego. You see him at the Lego store. He loves video games and stuff like that. But so does DJ. It's like those two are one and the same. In fact, they should collab. They really should get on their gaming tip together and just make a collab, because they're both on that gaming tip as well.
what's fun is if you ever watch some of the breakdowns that
Mhm.
Mighty Mouse does on his YouTube channel, they're pretty fun. They're pretty cool, pretty dope. He is literally like a scientist. Like
Right. Oh
he
yeah.
he
He's
even
amazing. Yeah.
did a breakdown of that Sneeko sparring match, and it's hilarious.
Yeah.
And uh and Strickland.
Mhm.
And he did a I can't believe he did a full breakdown on that, and it was something you might enjoy as well if you're a fight fan, because it was just funny the way he.
Yeah, no, I have to. Yeah, no, yeah, no, I mean that's shoot, man. I mean, I could watch him break down street fights all day, man. I mean, yeah, no, he's so calculated. And I was watching what was it, his Andrea Martin's fight where he won by flying knee in ONE FC, and he was just breaking down how he's like whatever, went southpaw because I saw his body go this way, so when I leaned to the side, that gave me more power to push up on the knee. And it's just like, God, it's like how kung fu masters would talk, be like, oh well, if you do this, when I'll do that, but he's literally in real time being like, you're doing this and I'm doing that.
Yep.
It's
and
just how he's the best.
and he literally float. That was such a crazy KO. He floated and just literally barely touched his. You know what I mean? And just he was out.
Yeah.
It's literally like barely with his knee. Just it was perfectly. That was crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, just perfectly placed, perfect momentum. The fact that
Yeah.
the cage was there to stop any act or any backwards motion happening,
Yeah.
and just KO'd him. And it's a shame he didn't stay in the UFC, but I think he's getting the love he deserves now
Yeah.
in ONE FC. And it's it seems like there's a vision for the little guys, because so much. Oh God, yeah, there's so much action there.
Yeah.
Well, let's look at some of the odds we got here. So let's see, Manuel Torres, we're on the line there, easily on the line for Yasmin Horgi. Let's see, yep. So I guess I'm on the line for Daniel Zellhuber. You're betting the underdog for Prado. I got the underdog for Ricky Torcios versus Raul Rojas. Looks like, yeah, I mean, shoot, that's, closer than you'd figure for having the 4-year layoff. The odds makers got good hope for Ortega, more than I'd think, I guess. And then, yeah, pretty much the line for Brandon Moreno. So, God, it's going to be interesting. I think, yeah. I mean, it's always interesting because when we got a few, like two back and forth, and what I've noticed too is with our last fight, with the last fight event, Torperia versus Volkanovski. I had a bad feeling about that matchup because I had pretty much I bet Roman Kopylov versus Anthony Hernandez.
Yeah.
I was just thinking, like, dude, that guy is such a good striker, and Anthony Hernandez isn't as good. But I mean, fuck, he stood up with him and did his thing, and showed he's a more well-rounded mixed martial artist. But those 4 fights were all the line. They're all on all the favorite. So then once it got to that main event fight, I was like, it's never always the favorite. There's always one upset.
Yeah.
And so when it got to that fight, I was like, shoot, man, I've
And
already bet my bets. But
those fights were so tough to call, and they were very close. You know what I mean? Like you're saying, the Jeff Neal fight and the Ian Gary fight. I mean, the clear favorite by a larger margin is Ian Gary, just because of the hype that he has and his style that he has. And same thing with Whitaker. You know what I mean? Whitaker on paper but that fight was so much harder and a crazy fight. Literally was seconds away from completely finishing it in the first, and I had bet on both of them, and because I had those were two fights that I felt the odds weren't at. They should have been more even, I thought, because of just what Paulo Costa brings to this cage, just how dangerous he is. Dude is never in a bad. Dude is. I'll watch him fight. He's just carnage. Like he literally just carnage every time. And then I thought Jeff Neal did a really good job against a rising prospect, Ian Garrett. Another close fight that it was a tough to call those kind of fights. And then same with, the Volkanovski, coming off that loss to Islam, short notice fight, it's, something that one of my coaches, used to tell me is like, the short notice fights, you have to be very careful because, getting knocked out like that, it can change. You can wake up and not be exactly who, you know what I mean? It can change you I've been knocked out. Like I've been kicked in the face, up kicked in the face and knocked out.
Oh shit. When someone's on the ground and you
Yeah.
were trying to scramble and oof.
Well, I was winning. Yeah. I took him down and I made one mistake. Well, I made multiple mistakes in that fight leading up to the fight. But
yeah.
I made one mistake where I didn't secure his feet and then I got up kicked, very rare. And I don't think you've ever probably even seen an up kick like that, knockout like that. And very, very rare. And it took me a long time. It took me like and a lot of people will tell you like that. Some of my training partners may say that I never even really came back from that 100. You know what I mean? Like 100%. That huge, almost personality changing knockout. You know what I mean? Like shit can happen. You know what I mean? After you get KO'd. So,
yeah. Well, what do you think happened like with your personality that changed for a while?
I was way more gun shy.
Yeah. You experienced that and you're like, I don't want to experience that again.
It was, and there was a certain amount of like anxiety that I never had felt before when it came to fighting. Before that, I had fought, you know what I mean, which a lot of huge odds against me and never really felt myself pressured like I did after that huge loss. And it took me a while to recover from that, that kind of, it is a traumatic injury,
Yeah.
traumatic brain injury, and even just one, you know what I mean? I mean, Volkanovski, it could put years on your career, look at, Volkanovski taking that head kick. And then, it's not like Volkanovski didn't fight people with power before, you know what I mean? Although I will say Ilya Topuria, the power that man possesses is like, I will say he's got some crazy power, but he fought and took some of Yair Rodriguez's best shots, and you know what I mean? And what I'm basically trying to say is his chin never seemed to be a problem. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You've never seen, Volkanovski, get rocked like that. And then, it was just, I think sometimes, it's hard to, recover from, and you may never recover from. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And looking back on that, I think the odds were correct. Where I was saying, it's like he was the champ, but he was coming on a short loss, and so it was like a 105 or something like that. It was pretty close to even on that card, and I was like, I don't really mean he's the champ. He's the champ, but I think it was smart on their part to be like, yeah, he's a champ, just got knocked out, come on short notice. Two factors playing into that. I was like, okay, if Volk doesn't drink, he says like, oh, he's drinking for 3 or 4 weeks, man, and all that sort of stuff, and you're like, okay, well, don't do that. It'd be good. But I guess that's going forward. We're gonna have to see what happens with him, man. I don't think he's done, but like you said, it's changed him, and now he's extra changed.
Yeah.
So bummer, but that's how the fight game goes, man. Well, thank you so much for coming on, brother. This was great. This was great. This was awesome. So we're both comics, both have stuff to plug. Do you have anything you want to share with the world as far as stuff you got going on?
Oh, yeah, definitely. So I do have a show. We're both based in Tacoma, right? Oh, well, you're based up more north.
I'm in Renton, so I'm a bit like, both here and there, so I can bounce around a bit. But lately I've been more Tacoma, man. I like the Tacoma scene, and going to Tacoma Comedy Club is always a great time. I've been loving that place. Such a great audience to try stuff on. But I love the Seattle scene too. It's just been going there, but I like the switch up at the moment. So
that's I have been noticing. I've been seeing you a lot more over at Tacoma Comedy Club. Love seeing you all the time.
Yeah.
up there. And yeah, so I do have a show in Tacoma. If you go to my Facebook, it's called Puff and Laugh. It's actually a competition, and it's at a 420 Lounge over near the Tacoma Dome, and basically you'll just be smoking a smoke party basically, and then we'll have 5 comedians, I believe. And then I also have a show in Second City the following Saturday, opening or hosting for Mike Wallace and
Walter, but yep.
yeah, Walter. Yeah, sorry, Walter.
No,
Well, he
you're
goes
good.
by Mike
Yeah.
Wally sometimes, so that's why I get confused because it's either Mike Wally or but yeah, but
Yeah,
um,
yeah, yeah. No worries, no worries.
yeah. And then also oh, I can't believe I'm blanking on his name.
What day is the competition?
The competition is the 23rd, this Friday, the 23rd. And then the show at Chi-Town Second City Stage is going to be the Saturday, the 24th. I'm just trying to remember. I can't believe I'm blanking. I shouldn't have hit my dab pen.
Shoot! Oh my god,
Before
I can't hit dabs anymore, man. I get high for like 8 hours. I can't smoke anymore, dude. I gotta be like, can I ruin tomorrow,
Oh, you get you be getting weed hangovers?
dude? My tolerance is shot, man. I mean, I've been sober off alcohol for like 160 days now, but I was like, okay, let me just supplement with weed. I'm like, nope. I wake up like I fucking had a bender.
So it's Brock Torreno is also going to be. He's featuring. So
He's
yeah,
funny. He's
yeah.
funny.
That's why I was like, I can't believe he's such a nice and amazing comedian. I was like, how did I blank on his name? He's, you know what I mean? But yeah,
Yeah.
Brock and then Mike Wally Walter, both will be there. Mike Wally Walter will be headlining, and then Brock will be featuring, and then I'll be hosting. That's February 24th, Second City, Chi-Town Pizza, and then again on February 23rd, the Friday is the smoke party. So smoke competition.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Well, yep, that's you definitely check that out on Xavier Rake's page, Facebook. Check it out. Joke Dealer on Instagram. I will be at Jersey's in Federal Way, producing my first show, doing a nice showcase in Federal Way. So if you're closer to Federal Way than Tacoma, please hit up Jersey's Sports Bar, having a showcase of some of my funny friends. And literally, I just picked them up. I was just like, I didn't even do any like, hey, who wants to be on this? I'm like, you're funny, you're funny, you're funny. Just come on. And so they're my funny friends, up and comers, presented by KRML, the homie Trevor, hooking it up there. And so, yeah, you'll have something to do Saturday. If you're, I guess, well, it'll be the day of the fights, but, we got work to do. But we'll definitely check him out. So stay locked for that. And that's what it is, man. Xavier, thank you so much for coming on, brother.
Yes, sir, man. Thank you.
Cool, brother. I'll catch you later. And thanks for tuning in. Have a good day. And splash. We're done.